Hello. Oh, that's very loud. Right, we're just going to do a Q&A, so if I can invite back the speakers from our last talk. So welcome back, Per. And Paul's incoming. After a great hunt for Paul, he's back. And Henk and Sherry, sorry, forgot your name then for a second. So we've got a few questions. We are able to take questions from the audience as well, so do raise your hand if you've got a question. And also, we're still monitoring the app as well, so if you'd rather, or if you're watching from home, do still send your questions in, and we'll get to them if we can. So we're just going to start off quickly with one for you, Paul. So first of all, we've had some comments that I can't imagine Umbraco without usync. So clearly you chose the right one of the right packages there to class as your favorites. Yeah. But we've also got a question about with Hot Chili, the redirect manager. You were showing how you set a 404 for the site, but the question is it possible to set a specific 404 page for a subdirectory in the site? So can you have About Us pages have a different 404 page to other parts of the site?
Yeah, so I did cut short my demo, but one thing I was going to show is, so you could have a general 404 page set really easily, and then like for the products, you could have had a product 404 page that comes up as well. And again, you just right-click on that tree node and just choose a new 404. So it's all, everything below that now uses this 404.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Sounds really good. Jump around a bit just to mix things up. So we'll go for a question for Per. So a question from Warren. Hi, Warren. We haven't got a mic, so I'll ask it for you. But imagine it's coming from Warren's voice. So he says, I think I think more companies should try to find open source projects. But how does the wider open source community get the larger corporates to be more aware of this problem?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Big one too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So I don't think the problem is awareness. I think everyone is kind of clued in now that sustainability in these ecosystems is a problem. I don't think it's a lack of marketing. Although the problem sometimes is that companies don't really know that they're using a specific open source component. A lot of people were shocked that they were hit by various security things in the projects they depend on. They didn't even know they used the thing. So of course there's this thing, and I think also the example with image shop, a lot of people don't really know that it's a separate component. It kind of plays into another thing you need to do, which really you need to know what's inside of your company. It's just like normal asset management. That's an actual security concern. But how can maintainers make companies aware? Well, I think there's two sides to this. I think maintainers need to be better at actually just asking for money, because that's like extremely hard for a lot of maintainers to say, I actually need money to do this. A lot of people have a problem saying this. A lot of maintainers I've interacted with was like, well, we could use the money for servers or like a security audit. They always like want to like give some substantial value back, and I think that's also a mindset we need to like change, that you actually start asking for money just for your time. So yeah, so I think there's two sides to it. Companies do need to understand what they depend on to, again, reduce the risk, but then maintainers need to also be vocal that they need money for their time.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Warren? Are you happy with that? And over to you, Henk and Sherry. I've got a question here. You showed a demo of building accessibility into the GitHub pipeline, or a pipeline. Is there a way to bring that earlier? Have you got any suggestions for tools you could use as pre-commit hooks, for example, in Git?
Yes, I actually mentioned it in the talk as well. What I did right now, it was that after building it. But you can actually put your YAML file in a way that it breaks the build if there is something wrong, so you break it. And of course, during the development, you can always, use that accessibility to step by step make sure that what you're doing is right, the extension there. But otherwise, you can put it during your build. Is that?
Yeah, and can you bring it even earlier than that? Can you bring it onto the dev machine? Are there any Git hooks? Presumably the library could be run as a Git hook. Whether it supports it well or not, I don't know.
To be honest, I haven't tried it, so I should double check it.
If it can run in pipelines,
it should be
probably
possible.
could be.
It should be possible, but it's an open source project, and it has the really good documentation. So I would say that go to the GitHub page and then read it there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we'll go jump onto another one for you too. Both individually, perhaps if we could get your opinions separately, that would be really good. So if we start with you, Henk, what's the future for accessibility? And the second part of the question, do you see AI having a big impact on accessibility in the future?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, AI is going to have a huge, of course, impact in accessibility like we do all the time. It's like in PowerPoint, it generates automatic image descriptions. Looks at the image, describes what is on. All the captions, all the neural voices, giving people actually a voice to speak. And those kind of things will make a huge impact, and it is now all available in like apps. And even if you think about like conversations, I'm from the Netherlands, you're from the UK. If I wasn't to speak English and you're not to be able to speak Dutch, we can just have an app that does the translation for us. And now the translator apps, you can actually have a headphone in, and when you speak in the app, it will read it to me like with maybe a few seconds delay, it reads it to me in Dutch. And it's just in the app stores now. So AI is already taking a huge impact in AI.
Fortunately, being an English speaker in Denmark, where everyone has fantastic English, is really convenient for me. But there are many places and many situations where that sort of tech is going to be really useful in the future.
It is all around here.
Yeah. Any separate opinions, Shelley? Sherry. Sorry.
No, I remember that actually Henk made a demo because we discussed about all the alts that you can put in a picture. So actually you can get the AI to create all of those really descriptive kind of alt for your images as well. So I am very positive that all of these tools that we are going to have is going to help us to actually build way more accessible product and with a very few effort. So we are going in the right direction, in my opinion.
Fantastic, thank you. I've got a question I don't understand, Per, for you. But hopefully it makes some sense to you. Okay. If not, we'll wing it. How do you feel about paddle?
A paddle?
Yes.
Like the game?
Oh, probably. Where's Jan? There we go.
Yeah, there we go. As I've expressed in Danish, and I'll be a bit more diplomatic as diplomatic, but I think paddle is just tennis, but easy. And that's like the worst definition of a sport. Sport is supposed to be hard, so you can compete. So it's the worst sport I know of, but it's also typically Danish to have something that's just like, it's for everyone. So that's, sorry. That was my diplomatic answer.
Perfect, thank you very much. And one final question that I've got pre-prepared for you, Paul.
Yep.
So you're talking about redirect management. Do you have any suggestions for managing perhaps a load of old URLs from an old site? Is there a package that you'd recommend for managing sort of a whole set of imported URLs?
Yeah, so we've used Skybroad redirects for importing a load of those redirects. You can actually hook into the redirect service that comes with that package, and that's basically what we did for one of our recent projects.
So same
Again,
package.
Skybroad, yeah, I wouldn't suggest using a different one actually.
Fantastic, brilliant. That's everything I've got pre-prepared. If we've got someone running around with a mic, we could take any from the room if anyone's got any additional questions. One at the back there. He's coming.
Thank you. I think I pressed it in, but I didn't make the app. Talking about for the packages, for the redirects, is there any package you recommend for redirect management? Not in a specific way where you do one in particular, but when you have a project that you have an old site, doing a new site, and doing the 301 management for a lot of URLs. Do you have a package you can recommend for that kind of instance?
Yeah, so again, the Skybroad redirect, it basically adds it to a big database table. So I would recommend Skybroad for that one. And you can, as I say, use the import service to, like what I did, I created an API controller that I would just fire the old redirect URLs, like a from and to column, and I'll fire it off to this API controller, which would use the redirect service to create them in the new V8 site. So yeah, that would be my suggestion to use.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay.
Any final questions? Yes?
Hold it a bit higher.
Here? All right, I didn't drop it. Good. So I'm an American. I'm going to ask about money. Just to keep the cliche going. What's an appropriate amount to send to an open source project? We're a super small company. We send, like, for the projects that we rely on, we try and send one day's worth of developer per year. Is that it, or do you?
Yeah, I think again, whatever amount you think is appropriate. I think I would steer towards rather like go for one bigger donation than a lot of small ones for different things, because getting like a bigger donation means that you can plan further ahead into the future. So if you can plan for, okay, now we actually have 10 development days instead of like one, that is going to make a bigger difference for a project. Because again, if you do consulting, it's extremely hard to like plan one day at a time. You need to kind of have like some sort of runway for you. So I would say go rather than find someone who can benefit from. If you have a small amount, then find someone who can benefit longer time for that amount, basically. Because that's going to make like a more difference for that specific project, rather than also try to go for the smaller ones because they're typically overlooked, and that would be my general advice here.
That makes a lot of sense. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Any more questions? No? All right. Unless I'm being blind. Do wave more extravagantly if I've missed you. If we can have one last thank you for our speakers this afternoon. A round of applause. Thank you very much, speakers.
Thank you.